Welcome to the show. This is really weird. Am I on like a huge lag to you guys? Because it's showing I'm on like a 15-second delay. That seems really bad. If that's the case, here's what I'm gonna do. As soon as you see, I'm gonna put my two fingers up like this. As soon as you see that, type in chat and let me know how bad the delay is. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. It's like 10 seconds. That's horrifying. Excellent. Subscribe with Twitch Prime for 2 months. Thank you. Thank you very much. Starting off strong. Wow. Where we go? There we go. Okay, so I don't know why it's on a 10-second delay. I really don't. I thought I had that fixed. I feel really bad now. I never had this problem before. And I don't know if it's just something in the settings or what I have to do. But like I thought I had this fixed. I do apologize. Anyway, guys, welcome to the stream. It's Saturday morning. We're all super excited. Don't mind these dots. Don't mind these dots. These are literally coming from my window because it's morning sun. So it's just bouncing off my green screen that I have. So just try to ignore them. They just go really nice in the background. It's just a nice little streak. Once it gets smaller, it's a little less noticeable. But obviously right now we're on the Let's Talk this morning, right? We'll just have a nice Saturday morning discussion. Guys, we have a lot of card reveals. We have Thursday's card reveals. What is Thursday? It's the nature ones, I know that. But what was their theme for it? It was it Furs Day for like animals? Was that what it was? Or was it just Nature Thursday? I know Fire Day was yesterday with George's amazing reveals. Did anyone do the nature ones or were they just posted online? I think they were just posted online. Furs Day. Okay, thank you, Filthy Phil. Thank you. God, this 10-second delay, it's gonna bug me. It's really gonna bug me. But yeah, we had the Thursday nature ones. Then we had yesterday, George revealed some awesome fire cards and 2 cross-order cards. Those got a lot of huge response online. I really want to talk about those as well with you guys. So with that being said, there's got to be, I think it's in here. I got to add that new window. I got to add there we go. The game screen window, I guess, is what I have it on. First, we have this Bramble Warden Biome, or however you want to pronounce his name. This guy is a Soul Superiority Nature card, obviously. Discard 1 creatable card to draw 2 cards. This card right here, I think, is exactly what PlayFusion needs to continue doing if they want to have heroes that have the like draw mechanic or draw 2 cards. Because as we've seen in the past 2 sets, or 3 sets even, I'm sorry, we're on set 4. On the past 3 sets, when you give a hero any sort of ability to just draw a card, that hero is ultimately better than almost any other hero in the game. Because of the action system and how drawing works in this game, any hero that can trigger an ability to then draw a card is just all around better. Because then you run Abyss Tentacles, and you run everything else that triggers off abilities, and you just draw cards and get infinite value. Like, it's insane. So I think really, like, kind of almost minimizing what you can get from draw effects, like how to use the draw effects. Like, Dola was best card in the game. Take 2 damage, draw 2 cards. I'll do that any day. Even 3 damage. I'll take 3 damage to draw 2 cards. Selene, discard a card to draw 2 cards. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll make sure that deck works. Yeah, I'll discard any card I want to draw 2 cards. Tempest, put a card back to draw 2 cards. Like, those heroes were dominant because they really had no restriction, no limitation to them. It's just any card to draw 2. You were able to cycle through your deck so quickly. Even cards that were just draw 1. Xyle is doing really well. The only reason High Curator Arwen is doing better than Xyle is because High Curator Arwen has the special bonus of like, hey, you can also look at the bottom of your deck and see if you want that card or just draw a card. Like, there's only a little bit of a difference, but because of it, High Curator Arwen is being run just for that, like, a little bit of advantage to the card draw. You can draw a specific card or a random card as opposed to just drawing a random card. Still prefer Xyle. I mean, Xyle, I made my first decks with Xyle. I didn't even touch High Curator Arwen until after a while. But yeah, Wartoximus Toad, I think, was the only one not touched just because why would you draw one card when you can Tempest to draw two, right? Like, why? Why would you do that? It doesn't make any sense. That's like Bramble Warden Biome, I think is a great step forward just for the game in general. For the game in general to step forward and progress in a way where it's not like, hey, this guy draws two cards. Let's not use any other nature hero ever because there's nothing better than drawing in this game. Where it's you literally need to discard a specific family card to draw two cards. So you can't just discard any random card to draw two. It's not Selene. You have to discard a Creeble card. And those Creeble cards, as we've been seeing of late, are actually really advantageous to keep in your deck, to keep in your hand, to then play off other cards. So, like, this is only going to be built if you actually run Creebles. This can't just be slapped into any nature deck and really ramp that thing out with card draw. I love it. I like it a lot. It's really good. As we found out, Soul is actually one of the better ones to have superiority for, because you can, like, use it to do whatever you need for balances, and then you can still buff removal, right? You can still buff removal along with doing another tech advantage ability. And being able to do stuff along with buff removal is really good. Is really good to not have to worry about that. So, I like this hero. I like this hero a lot. I don't know if he's going to be placed in, like, every deck, which is A-okay. There should not really be a hero to be placed in every single deck. As these heroes come out, Mud Turtle, how's it going this morning? As these heroes come out, they should be like, hey, this hero starts to lean towards this certain type of deck. This hero starts to lean towards this certain type of deck. It's not like how Tempest could run Tempest Control, Tempest Mill, Tempest Aggro. That shouldn't be it, because there should be different heroes for different types of decks, so that with how many amazing heroes they put out, there's not just one hero to rule them all type of thing. So I think this is a great step forward. I think it's a great card. I'm going to play it. I mean, I'm going to play every card, but I think it's a good card for the game, but for nature as well. I think it's really good. Now let's go to Reclamation. Reclamation is the double forest combo card. It says remove all location and machine buffs from another hero. First of all, amazing. Amazing. This is going to remove all your mountain forests. This is going to remove your prism cannons. This is going to remove your mage ships. This is going to remove your Colossus, the sky beams, all that stuff. Like location and machine. Location is already one of the better buffs, just in general, outside of like beasts and all that stuff like that. But machines, we're starting to see a lot more machines, not just in tech, but I know for a fact that Mountain and I think Astral are getting some machines as well. So that's like a really nice family to start blending into some other ones, just not as much as tech, but like nice little synergies in there as well. But this removes 2 families, just all of them right away. And then also you heal yourself for 3 and increased by 2 for each buff that was removed. So like I'll heal for 3, but there's a potential that I could heal for like 11. If you remove, I don't know, what is that? If you remove 4 buffs, it heals you for 11. If you're in a person who's playing locations, Sunflare. Sorry, my face just got like blinding white. There is like a window right here that I'm hoping that I can just like put a blanket over eventually, just block out that sun for the morning streams like this. But yeah, this is just a really good buff. It's a really good buff. Its healing could be a lot like a really burst healing depending on the deck you play against. I know, right? Us paleys, we hate the sun, man. My faces look so blown out. I do apologize. Hopefully later in the afternoon when the sun rises, it'll go away. But yeah, Reclamation, I love it. I love this buff. I think it's great for 2 forests. 2 forests is definitely healing. It's not as much buff removal as Soul, obviously, but Reclamation, solid card. Solid card. And the last one that was kind of a little lie. I think they gave us the Rider that we got like 2 weeks ago. That was still a really good card. I love it. But we got Mossfoot Shimmer Rider now, which is yet another Creeble on a dinosaur. So it's easy to get those mixed up, I think, right? This is a Creeble animal buff, X5. If your target has 8 or more cards in their hand, they move 3 of their cards back to their deck. Otherwise, they take 5 damage. Once again, this is a card that just it works around hand size. It's really fun. If you're playing a control deck or against a control deck, they're going to move 3 cards back because they're going to have a very large hand. If you're playing a aggro deck, it just deals 5 damage to them. Reclamation I see is a sideboard card unless the meta becomes location of machines. No, exactly. I mean, it is a sideboard, but then again, I'm mostly not thinking of physical. I'm thinking of digital, where it's not necessarily a sideboard. It's a tech buff or a tech combo that you add in if you're facing a lot of locations of machines. It's not one you auto run. And having like buffs be tech buffs, and by tech buffs, what I don't mean the tech order. I mean you put them in place to help you defend against certain decks in the meta. Like Crushing Charger is a tech card in my opinion because it really slows down a lot of control decks because those control decks always have 8 or more cards in their hand, right? It's a situational card that really helps you kind of swing the game back to your advantage. So having that buff be one that you include only because like you're having problems with a certain deck, you slot that one into one of your slots, and that'll help you win those matchups a lot easier. But yeah, it's a really good card. Mosswood Shimrider, once again, this is just an all-around good card. Control messes up their hand. Aggro, 5 damage. Yeah. And if they're right, the thing is, if they're right on the cusp, when you lay this, if they're on like 6 cards, they can sit there and think to themselves, if I just draw 2, then I won't take 5 damage, but I'll lose 3 cards. Or if I'm at like 8 cards, do I lay 2 right now to go down below 6 and take 5 rather than disrupt my hand? Like it's a really good kind of mind messing card. If they don't have buff removal, they can change their hand size on their turn if they're around that range to see which one is a better benefit for them. And that might even give you information. Like if they choose to move 3 back, maybe their hand was dead at that time and they needed to just dump cards and they were fine. They just didn't want to take damage because they didn't have a lot of defend. Or they were okay taking damage because they do have the defense and they're not really playing that kind of aggro matchup. But yeah, I like this card. I like this card a lot. I think it's going to be really cool. Then we have the Friday ones, the Fire Day. We'll do the fire cards first, and then we'll do the cross-order ones. We got Flame Hurler. Guys, it's a machine buff. Which we already discussed with Nature. They're starting to splash in it a lot more. Flame Hurler, when you play a fire card, deal damage to your target. This card, I love this card, first of all. This card does exactly what Flame Chained Elder wanted to do, where it was X334, where whenever you play a fire card, your next card increased damage and healing by that amount. So you almost had to play like a fire card and then always get value out of it. It was sometimes really difficult to do that unless you built a deck specifically around that. Flame Hurl is just every time you play a fire card, you deal 2 extra damage. That's really good. A lot of aggro decks are always just like fire, or fire crystal, or fire something. This is just an extra 2 damage. It's potentially, it's as minimum as 0, obviously, but it's maximum of 8 damage off this one buff. This is really good. Now we need fire cards to grant additional actions. You just need fire cards to be Chimchu cards, and then you run Flame Claws in a Chimchu deck, and you're good to go, right? That's what you need. But yeah, I mean, if fire granted additional actions, that would be nuts. That would be so nuts. Aggro Mountain would be the most dominant thing in the world. But yeah, this is just a really solid card. There's a lot of potential to deal 8 damage off this card. You don't need damage increases. This one increases the damage. Unless there's cards that say like your fire damage is increased or something like that, then you can increase a lot of other damage and stuff like that. There's a lot of really cool stuff with this, and the fact that it's a fire buff. And as we've discussed way back then, we need a lot of fire buffs. We need more fire buffs in this game to really go off of a lot of people that utilize having fire buffs on the board. We didn't have many past that were really run other than like what was it, Magma Spitter? Magma Scorcher. No. Draga Scorcher and Magma Spitter. There we go. I was right. That more fire buffs like this are really going to help people that need those like really big fire decks. So I like this card. I like it a lot. I think it's going to do really well. Now we got a Pyroclastic Blast. Triple fire combo attack. 10 damage. Right there. Solid card. Already better than the 4-cost fire attack, right? Already. But wait, there's more. You may remove up to 2 of your location buffs. I can see Mud Turtles getting a big smile on his face for this. In play to increase this by 2 damage per buff removed. This is potentially 14 damage. Like, this is your burst fire damage. This is your burst mountain attack card, right? This is what Magma Blast wanted to be. one more fire instead of an earth. This is what the Volcano, Wrath of the Mountain, was. It's like, it could be better than that if you run a location deck. It's 10 damage, but if you have good location cards, which if you're playing Mountain, you're probably going to have quite a bit, 14 damage. Yeah, exactly. Mud Turtle says, when Skybeam is dead below 20, you finish him off for 14. Yeah, Pyroclastic Blast is really good. This card is going to see a lot of play, and it's a common. It's a common, and it's a card that's going to see a lot of play. That's so nuts. That is so nuts. Like, you're going to have to start worrying about Mountain over Astral now, like how much burst damage they can do to kill you. Like, all right. I mean, Astral can do, what, like 14 if they can discard cards from their hand. Yeah, it's pretty easy if they have a large hand size. Pyroclastic Blast, you literally have to worry about their board. You're like, all right, do I have buff removal on these location buffs? Or what's happening? Like, what is going on right now? So we're getting into a lot more of that where your life range is really dangerous no matter what you face other than just Astral. Pyroclastic Blast, always be on the lookout for this when you're facing Mountain. That is such a good one. And our hero that we got, Crub the Collector. Draw one card when any of your crystal buffs are removed by another hero. This is really good. I played a lot of Wrathshard. Wrathshard is really fun. Crystal buffs are really fun. You have the Prism Cannon is a crystal buff. Just 8 damage. That's completely fine. But if it's removed, hey, you get value from it, right? We already discussed, I think it was on Tech Tuesday, the tech buff that's just a buff when any of your buffs are removed, draw one for each buff removed. That one is going to see a lot of play just because you get card draw off of laying a buff on board if they remove it. This one, just build a big crystal buff deck, right? That's all you got to do, or at least have really good crystal buffs. So you slam them on the board, and if they're removed, you draw a card. It's not like, hey, you remove my buff, I'm dead. I got to keep drawing for more. No, it's if they're gone, you draw. You replace that card that was removed. So like this kind of thing is gonna be pretty good. I don't know how well the crystal buffs are gonna be outside of things like Prism Cannon. I have to go back and like really wrap my head around what all crystal buffs they have. But I mean, if there's really good crystal buffs and they're really impactful on the game, this guy's gonna be good. He's gonna fit into a certain deck, which all heroes kind of should lean more towards, and he's gonna see really good value if there's a lot of really good crystal buffs. So I would be on the lookout for him. I'm definitely gonna try and build a gimmick deck or something like that, or to see how many crystal buffs I can throw in there. He's almost gonna be like a new Wrathshard type of thing, where Wrathshard is really good at 4-corner buffs, but he's just really good with crystal buffs. So just slam a whole bunch of crystal stuff in there, go to town on that stuff. I'm gonna love Crub the Collector. He's gonna be a fun card. Ooh, the clouds cover the sun. You can see the pastiness is gone. All right, guys, we're on to the cross order stuff. We're on to the cross order cards. We got Short Circuit, Tech, and Storm. Now, if we compare this to the last Tech Storm, Electrify, 6 damage if you were attacked, but always just a ping for 2, which was really good. It was seeing a lot of play when you played those two colors, which, I mean, unless you were playing Little Blammo, you probably didn't splash in like Tech into Storm just to run that combo. And there's the sun again. But Short Circuit, X4. Not too bad. It's meh for damage. But the fact that you get to move 2 valid Storm or Tech action buffs from your deck into play, that's bonkers. Like, you pay, you can even hold on to 2 cards that you really want to try and get out, just in your hand, pay them to Short Circuit and hope you don't draw them eventually, and then just the next turn you can, boom, put them into play. Like, that's really good. There's going to find a lot of this. I don't think this card is going to be much on like a tempo deck, per se. I think this card is going to be almost try and be utilized in like a combo style deck where like you're really looking to aim for 2 certain and specific buffs to put on board with this every single time. Because if you get to search your deck for those buffs and put them into play the next turn, you don't even care about the 4 damage. You care about those 2 buffs that come into play. And depending on what they are and like what we can try and manipulate, what we can put all together, Short Circuit is going to be nuts. I see a lot of potential in Short Circuit, and it's going to be incredibly insane. Like, incredibly insane. I think it's going to be one of the earlier cards that I try and mess around with for cross order cards. Outside of like the heroes that we're getting and all that stuff, I'm going to mess around with everything. But Short Circuit, I'm definitely going to see like what kind of crazy synergies I can pull off with Storm and Tech. That's really good. Also, mind you, let's go on to the Cross Hero and see why the Cross Hero is so good, so much talked about right now. We have the Time Jumper Rylox. Lightning Mechanical Superior Time. When you play a Lightning and a Time card in the same turn, you may return one action buff to the owner's hand. This can only trigger once per turn. Mind you, if you play Short Circuit, that is an Electric and a Time card. You get to return a buff to their hand just by playing a combo that turn. Now, a lot of people did mention this. A lot of people were like, hey, this is the first hero that we're getting that doesn't have any alignment with buff removal. So this is going to be really bad. And a lot of people are like, well, I mean, yeah, there's no buff removal, but he can really manipulate the board as he sees fit. There's C25 Combat Tech Warper. There is Fountain of Time. There is the I can't think of it. It's the 3 healing, rotate a buff to its final corner on an opponent. With all that stuff that Tech is getting, there's a lot of really just buff manipulation. So maybe like I kind of have 2 thoughts on this. There's 2 thoughts. One is the way Tech is going outside of Crazed Bomber, with Crazed Bomber being heavy buff removal, you remove your own buffs. The way around that is to just be major board and buff manipulation by returning them their hands constantly, rotating them to the final corner, messing up the board in such a way where it's almost like removing the buffs, but not really. Now, mind you, those are all action buff cards, stuff like that. So combo buffs, really difficult unless you splash an item in, from what I'm seeing, unless they for some reason come up with a time card that manipulates combo buffs. I don't see that happening, but it could. It could. There's a lot of things they can do with time and how they've already been playing it so far. The other option I could see them doing, if for some reason they decide to do this mid-set, I don't know, we'll cross our fingers and we'll see what happens, is if they say, hey guys, we heard your concerns about Crazed Bomber. We're taking Crazed Bomber out. We're replacing it with another card. Crazed Bomber's bonkers. We all know it's bonkers. It's from what I've said, it's what's holding Tech back for certain deck archetypes. And we're giving you a different buff removal. That's what they could be doing. I don't know. They could be doing that. Awesome if they do. I'm a fan of getting rid of Crazed Bomber. In my opinion, that card is a little like, yeah, if you want to play attack or aggro, and Crazed Bomber is the best buff removal. Yeah, I've already said my spiel on that. But yeah, that'd be great. But from what I'm seeing is that they're probably going to go more along the lines of like tech and buff manipulation, rotating, returning to the hand. If for some reason like time gets something to do with the hand, like Corrosive Spirit did for nature, where they shuffle back buff cards from their hand into their deck, like returning stuff to their hand and then shuffling it back into their deck is probably just as good as buff removal, right? Because a lot of cards lately we've been seeing is getting stuff back from your discard pile, laying it back on the board, all this other stuff. So if you can return stuff to their hand and then make them shuffle it back into their deck so they don't have that buff anymore and it's not in their discard pile unless they fetch for it or something like that, that could be really fun to do as well. But we'll see. We'll see. I know Corrosive Spirit's getting rotated out because it wasn't reprinted. Maybe they're making something for it in tech that's a little less weaker than 3. Maybe it's just like 2. Or maybe there's a lot more the, hey, look at your opponent's hand, choose an alignment, move one card back of that alignment. So it's like, hey, I return this to your hand. Let me look at your hand. Move something back to your deck. Something like that. Maybe they could do that with time. I don't know. But I do see a lot of opportunities for really good board manipulation with Jumper or Time Jumper Rylox. With his alignments too, he's just really good at aggro. Lightning is really good at aggro. Time is really good at card draw. This could just be a really good like tempo aggro, where like you're always dealing damage to them with your lightning cards and then just laying a time to manipulate the board offhand and just really get into them. Or like lay a time card for card draw or whatever, then you lay a lightning card, and before that damage goes through from lightning, you return their Mountain Fort or not Thunderslug, like Bubblefish or something like that, so the lightning damage fully goes through the board. There's a lot of things that I really like about Time Jumper Rylox, that he's really like, it takes the game and puts it on its head in almost a way, where you think about it in a very direct way. It's, oh, lightning damage, cool, awesome. Time, card draw, rotation-wise, awesome. But like, there's a lot of really like plays that you almost have to think out in your head of how you want to do it with his ability, because you have to lay 2 specific cards of certain alignments to then use his ability to return a buff, right? So like, you have to play him in the right order before his buff goes off, because his buff will go off, or his ability will go off before the second one actually hits the board or affects the board in any way. So there could be a lot of things like where you lay a lightning card to do something, and then when you lay a time card that could be like rotate something to its final corner, you could like remove or return a buff that says like your buffs don't rotate, and then you Fountain of Time, that buff's gone to the hand, and you can start rotating the buffs again. Like, there's a lot of things that they're going to be thinking about with Time Jumper Rylox, where once you start building the deck and start playing it, it's definitely going to be more of a thought processing deck. If you get into more of that stuff, it could just be into like, hey, I just want to attack you with face and go lightning. That stuff. Chrono Moth Lethal for the win. I don't know. But I see a lot of things happening with this card. And like we said, because of the alignment where there's no buff removal, this now raises speculation for the next like 30, 40 cards that we're going to get of what tech is also going to come out with. Because I don't think they're going to say like, no, we're going to make a lightning buff removal. I doubt that. Thunder Slug is already OP in Storm. I don't think Storm's going to need another buff removal. I think it's going to be something along the lines in tech. But because of this card, it did start a speculation and a conversation, which is awesome to do, of what they're going to do. What are they going to do if he has no buff removal? Are they just expecting us to always splash in an item to give him buff removal? Or are they going to do something in tech to make it so this guy can stand up against things like combo buffs, if combo buffs and all other buffs are going to start being more relevant? I don't know. We will have to see and find out what's in store for the next 30, 40 cards that we're going to get over the next few weeks. That's awesome. I did just hear news. In general, let's see if we can bring this up. Jade posted. Oh, come on. Don't do this to me. Jade posted. Can I do it? Can I do it? There we go. Jade just posted this. If anyone can read it. Nope, that is not the one I'm looking for. Here's the one I'm looking for. Jade posted this. Just in case anyone concerned about finding out nationals, we had posted. This is purely because we are requesting some nice assets and wanted to get news you are all asking about, aka the Uprising release date. Alongside announcing this news, as I know it's been the main question. Hope this makes sense. You should all have a nice update on the website next week. I'm crossing my fingers that it's not like Friday at 9 p.m. for me. But this is very good news that next week we might be getting an Uprising release date. Like, oh my God, I'm super excited. We all finally want this news and we're getting it. And an Uprising release date is what we've been asking for months now. They've started to do all this card reveals. Wow, could not say it. They started to do all these card reveals. And we've been like, all right, card reveals are coming. Cool. There's been a lot of delays for this set. When is it coming out? When we want it along with when the Nationals is and all that stuff. They gave us when Nationals is. We know that. Awesome. When's Uprising come out? Guys, next week, if this is true, if this is a true statement by PlayFusion from Jade, next week, we're getting a release date. I don't know about you, but I'm super excited. I cannot wait. Release dates are what we all want right now for this game. So that's awesome. That is awesome. Be on the lookout for that, because I know I will.